Hey guys, JC here. Sorry about the delay in getting videos up. These past few months have just been really hectic. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys today, real quick. I've already shown y'all homemade PVC bow and river cane arrows. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys another way to make arrows that do take a little bit more time. But the quality is much higher. So I'm sure most of y'all have seen these at hardware stores. This is called a poplar dowel. That's P-O-P-L-A-R dowel. This is a 3/8 inch. Usually it's indicated by some kind of mark. They'll have them wherever you go. I got this at like an Ace True Value. But you can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, things like that, and they're really cheap. I want to say this was like $1.50, and this is a full length one. I bought 2 of them because you need a full length one to make a good arrow. Cutting it in half would probably give you about an arrow's length, but it's pretty small. The one I made was definitely longer than half, so I really was only getting 1 arrow out of each. But you can do it however you want. So anyway, cheap. And the only thing I'd say about them is make sure that they are nice and straight. You can see that that's pretty straight. You want to make sure they're nice and straight, and then whichever side ends up being the straighter side is the one you use for your arrow. Now, this is my arrow. We still have the same little duct tape fin, not really even on either side, but still shoots nice and still shoots very well. Come down, and we have our arrowhead, and go ahead and let you guys see a little notch here. This notch was actually really simple. I just had I have a miter saw or a chop saw, given kind of both names, and I just held the arrow firmly in place, turned the saw on, and then I just kind of moved the wood into it until I gave it a nice clean shape to the length I wanted it, and then pulled it out. And then did the opposite, or did it on the opposite end, basically to where they're both same. You want the hole is right here, you want it to be right here. You don't want it to be angled. At least in my opinion, that's just kind of my way of doing it. You do the exact same thing. Now, unfortunately for the metal I use, the hole I cut is just slightly bigger than the actual metal, but that gets taken care of whenever I'm putting it all together. So this is my little arrow, obviously. I've already talked about the fin. Now, go ahead and show you guys up here. I'm sure y'all remember from my earlier videos, I showed you guys basically just the top part of a machete, or I think it was the bottom part actually, the handle part, that I was going to use for a spear. Well, I actually started looking and I found a spear I really liked, and decided I was going to go ahead and get that and forget that little cheap machete I found. Or a cheap machete I had from Walmart. It was like a $6, maybe $8 machete. It was right around there. But I used a grinder to cut the shape of this arrow out. Now basically, it's the shape is incredibly simple. Everybody, you have the general idea of what an arrow should be. Basically, just a triangle, a pyramid. What I like to do is I go ahead and just use a permanent marker. Even on this black metal, it's not super easy to see, but it is you're still able to see it. I use a black marker to go ahead and shape out what I want in my little pyramid, and then with usually I'll use some clamps or something to hold the metal steady, especially one of those bench clamps, so you can spin it around and get it nice and tight. Just hold the metal nice and tight, and then use the grinder to cut the tip off, and then put the little piece that you have, stick it in there, and then grind it down. Now once it's been grinded down to the shape, here's what I do. I create 2 little notches. You can see that on either side. I just went in just a little bit. I'd say maybe not quite a 1/4 of an inch. A little over 1/8 of an inch in. And that just allows, you can see, for the string to kind of get in there, so that it can help hold it in place. Now this arrowhead is actually held in place by liquid nail. So once I was done, I slid once I had this shaped and everything, which I did shape in it, and I don't know if you can, I did shape it, and I don't know if you can see, but it's, yeah, you can see right there.
It's been shaved down the side so that it has a nice clean pierce. It doesn't, you know, that these aren't like just flat sides. I gave them a nice little shave, and I actually had one of those oh man, I'm totally blanking here. It's basically a table grinder. You can file metal down, things like that, sharpen blades, stuff like that. And this is what I did with it. It makes it a lot easier than trying to sharpen it with an actual like knife sharpener. Can be done, but much slower process. So I just went ahead and held it with a pair of pliers, and then just ran and gave it a nice sharp edge, and then stuck it in. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Before I slipped it in, I went ahead and filled up this hole, the little notch that you're going to be putting it in. I filled it up with liquid nail. Then I put it in, put it to where I wanted it, and then very gently, because that liquid nail will hold it in there. It's not going to just slip out. Liquid nail will hold it in there, but it's not going to do much until this wood has clamped down on either side of this arrow. So the same table clamp, or you can use another clamp. Table clamp's just easier because it's nice and heavy, and it's not going to go anywhere. I stick it in just enough to where the whenever I tighten it up, you know, spin it tight, it shuts the clamps on either side, and it just makes sure that it closes in and tightens around the arrowhead. Then you want to give it a solid 24 hours to dry. Liquid nail can dry quicker depending on the climate, but I always say give it a full 24 hours to dry. So I don't even take it out of the clamp until it's fully dry. Once it's fully dry, take it out. Then there's going to be a little bit of liquid nail just kind of on all sides of it. I just take a little knife, just kind of carve it out of there. And then this is, for the line, this is actually 50-pound spider wire, fishing line that I bought at Walmart. This is probably about maybe 10 feet of spider wire. Now you can use pretty much any type of wire. This is just what I had on hand. You can use standard fishing line, or just, you know, really small string if you wanted to. I just prefer something nice and tough that I know can handle a little bit of a beating. And so anyway, that's basically the finished product. I mean, guys, it's a great arrow. It flies straight, and I know I can't tell you how many people have just like, especially family members that have looked at it. They're like, "What are you gonna do with those tiny little fins? It's not gonna do anything." That's not true. Even without fins, these will fly pretty straight. Maybe not over as great of a distance, but they will fly pretty straight. For a very short distance, they're going to be pretty solid. This, with these little fins on this, these tiny little duct tape fins, this took a total of maybe 5 inches of duct tape to do. This duct tape, you know, allows it to go nice and far, and it's going to, and it does. It flies really far, and it has a really good pierce rate. The only thing I would say is, and this is the same with all arrows, because I do have a lot of, obviously, you know, standard arrows you can buy at Academy and things like that, and bought tips for them and everything. Do not shoot them at trees. I have shot mine a couple of times at some pine trees, which is, pine, for all of you who know, is a soft wood. But even so, the arrows will stick. But a lot of times, especially in the metal ones, it warps the metal. The metal will get bent slightly out of place, and you got to bend it back in, and it is a pain in the butt, because a lot of times I overbend it and I have to bend it back, and it becomes a pain. With wood, though, it can actually split the wood. When you're shooting at something, have a good foam target, something softer, and you know, obviously, whenever you're out hunting, whatever you hit is not going to be as tough as a tree, as long as you hit your target. So that's what I'd recommend. Oh, the very last tip, if you're wanting to make these, you see the notch in the duct tape. They're not against each other. They're working right with each other. Duct tape is sitting basically on that line, and the reason for that is when you put that in your string, and you're pulling back and you release, you don't want the duct tape to be to the side like this, because then it'll just chip away at this. You can do it slightly at an angle, or straight up and down, and it's going to give you the best results. But anyway, guys, just wanted to give you guys a quick update, and let you guys know that I'm going to be putting up more videos very soon. I apologize once again for the delay, and I appreciate everyone who has continued to subscribe and who has continued to make comments and share my videos.
So please rate, comment, subscribe. If you have any problems or anything, let me know. Please email me. I always put my email in the description. If for some reason it's not in because I forgot to put it in, go to one of my other videos. It's always there. So, alright guys, I appreciate it, and y'all take it easy.